right there.
Get all the aluminum in it.
One of my better seal jobs, which kind of tells you probably how bad some of my previous ones have been. It can be unbolted, drop that lower loop, and we can remove the drive shaft if we ever needed to. Alright guys, this week we're back working on the 55 truck and we're getting the bed bolted up and the floor, aluminum floor put in it. Little announcement there at the beginning of this. I was out of town and our video camera got turned vertical. And so the beginning section of this video is all vertical. I've got a background on it because it was all important stuff on how Dad got this bed mounted up while I was gone. So it had to be used, so bear with us on that. First few minutes of this will be that way, and then we get it back horizontal. Hey, we're not professionals. We just do our best, so don't sue me. Don't yell at me. Just please watch it. That would be awesome. So let's go ahead and jump right in. If you guys don't know what we're doing, we're working on the 55 truck. We're getting ready to take to Sick Smokies. We've got a dang QA1 double adjustable triangulated 4-link in this thing, and it's turned out so good. And now we got to get the body ready so that we can get this thing to Sick Smokies in, when this video comes out, 1 week. So let's jump in. Let's get into it. Let's get started.
Okay, Jake's not going to be in the shop here the next 3 or 4 days, so we're going to continue on with this thing, trying to get everything sort of established, what we need to do here. If you remember, last couple of episodes, we got everything situated with the lower and upper control arms, except we needed to make some spacers for this front here, and we had to get it to this point to determine how thick those spacers needed to be. They've got I'll show you those in a minute. They've got clearance spacers that goes against the heim joint that allows it to pivot and gives it a little bit more flexibility. You can't just run a solid flat spacer up against that thing. It can't pivot. So anyway, we're going to get into making those this morning. I've already measured. I've got 210 thousandths, or I'm sorry, 2 inches 100 thousandths between the two rails on this front lower control arm mount. So I'm going to have to make up that distance. The heim joint is 3/4 of an inch, 750 thousandths. So I've got my measurements. I know I need to make those spacers with the clearance spacers. They have to be 420 thousandths each. So 840 thousandths has to be taken up with just a flat spacer. Okay, what this is going to amount to, we got 4 of these spacers that came with the kit. I'm just going to cut. I'll have to have 4 420 thousandths thick spacers. We got our spacers made along with these clearance spacers. There we go. Just a little bit of clearance, which will be took up when we tighten those flanges up. Okay, the next thing we're going to get into here, which is kind of a puzzle, the way we're going to do it, we're going to put an aluminum floor in this. It had a wood floor in it. The wood floor came up against this. It was 3/4 of an inch thick, and it actually laid on this ledge here. Wood laid right here. So we've got a 3/4 inch step right here. We're going to have to pull about 5/8 of an inch out of that so that the floor will be flush with this ledge here, and it will lay up against this very well, exactly like the wood floor did. But instead of being 3/4 thick, it's 1/8 thick. So we're going to try to, next thing we're going to try to get into is probably make an aluminum spacer that will go something like that, and it will attach here just like the wood floor did. It'll lay on top of this, and the problem is we're going to try to get this fished up in this thing. So this back side is going to be a little bit tedious, but the front's even going to be worse. So we're going to see if we can get those fished in place. Okay, we finally got started here putting this rear floor section in. What we did is take about 5/8 of an inch of that recess out with this aluminum angle. It'll be attached here and here all the way across this edge. We're going to have to see if we can raise this and work this floor in probably from this side. If I can raise this up, if we can get this raised up over the C-notch and feed the floor in underneath here, which will go we can run the floor on top of this, underneath this, and on top of this. So it's a little tedious. All right, we've got it back close enough. I think we can let it down now. Just had to raise this up and run the floor underneath this. Something like that right there. That's what we're after. Like that. Should be able to let it down now and get it kind of back in place. And start attaching the floor to the angles on the bed. That's the plan anyway. We've got the floor, front and rear sections of the floor somewhat situated. It's at least in the place it needs to be under the flanges on the bed sides and in the front and rear. So now the fitting work begins. I saved you all the tedious squeezing and pulling with ratchet straps and tapping into place with hammers, but that kind of gives you an idea of how much out of square this bed was. Part of it's because we welded some wheel tubs in it. The other thing is when you put one of these beds together with wood, the wood pulls everything back fairly square. I did not check the square on it when we put the wood in it. I just kind of lived with what we had. But this is what we had to do. We tried to work on this thing with it. If you remember, we filmed some yesterday that we had set it on the chassis. And my first attempt was to try to square everything on the chassis, and that wasn't happening. This thing ended up from the corner to corner on the ratchet strap. The bed was out of square 2 inches. So it's now within a 1/16 of being dead square. And I think when we put these, I'm not decided yet. I think I'm either gonna bolt it, or if I can find some rivets to suit me, we'll rivet it. We get these aluminum plates, the floor riveted or bolted in, it should maintain fairly good square. I don't think it can pull itself out of square when we get that done. So several hours of measuring, pulling. You saw the pictures we put up of the ratchet strap and the bar clamps. All the bar clamps are off. We found a piece of aluminum tubing that we were able to use for the spacer on the front, on the headboard of the truck, which spaced the floor up to the same level as the angles on the side, the factory angles on the side. So we got that. We got the bed pulled square, and then we just drilled holes in the sides on the factory angles, and there is the spacer, the spacer to space the floor up to the same height as the factory angles. And we just drilled. There's 3 holes in each side here in the front. The front section's a little shorter than the rear section, and ended up drilling 4 holes on each side up here. There's no spacer required. We put the spacer on before the aluminum angle attached to the rear tail section of the bed, and then we've got 4 bolts on each side that's holding the bed square. We pulled everything off of it. It stayed within 3/16 of being absolutely square. So I don't think the bed was ever that square before. The floor, the wood floor, had quite a bit of loose motion.
As we transfer back into the horizontal world here, I'm going to jump in and remind you guys of the giveaway that we're doing on the channel for hitting 5,555 subscribers. We are giving away one of our WAF Racing carburetor stands, this complete WAF Racing toolbox. This is a carburetor toolbox. This is everything that you need to adjust and work on your carburetor at the track or at home. And the Pro cover and spark plug holders here. We love this WAF Racing stuff. We appreciate what Chris has done to help us out, and man, we love his products, and that's honestly why they're on our website. And the reason that we do this is because we use this stuff all the time. So if you head to our online store, you can buy anything in the store. It doesn't matter if it's a $3 sticker or a $20 t-shirt, it doesn't matter. Any dollar value that you spend in the store will go toward entering you into this giveaway. So if you spend $5, you get 5 entries. If you spend $10, you get 10 entries. And then there will be a random drawing at the end of the month whenever we do this to give away. And I'm going to pack this stuff right here that you've got. We're going to pack it up, send it off to you guys. And I don't want you to miss out on this. We've got some really great stickers that I really like. Some of the ones that I've done, some of the ones that Nick Trueblood has designed for us. We've got our Lenko, our Grumpy, our Ryder Morrison tributes for the Shift Points YouTube channel. So please do that. We would love to get this out to you guys. And like I said, we love these products, and that's why we are doing this. We want to get these out to you guys so that you can give them a shot, try them out, because we absolutely love them. So head to the store, get your products, and get entered in, and we'll get you all this stuff drawn up for the end of the month. Let's get back into it now.
But the bed is sitting on it. It's got a bolt in each corner on the cross seal in the front. The bolts are in the back sitting on the frame rails. It's very close to being level. It's going to be raised up just a little bit in the front. But we were able to get all the aluminum in it. Well, not all of it. The front and rear floor panels. We're going to have to do some measuring now to try to make the doghouse in the center to cover up the C-notch. But check square, after we got everything situated across the top, it's 1/16 of an inch out of square. So it turned out pretty good. It was a lot of tedious kind of thrashing, but it's up to this point it's worked out pretty good. So we're going to try tomorrow to take some measurements and get that riser fixed in the center to cover up the C-notch and all of the suspensions.
Good morning, guys. I am back from Colorado. Mom and Dad have been working on getting this bed fitted up, and I'm sure that they have been keeping you guys up to date on all of that. I haven't looked at any of it yet, so I'm just guessing. But me and Dad have already got started back on this thing this morning, and what we've done is we went ahead and set the bed back onto the frame here, and we got a couple of holes and bolts drilled through the cross seals, the one that's here and the one that's there, through those and into the floor. And what that's done has got that cross seal pulled up here against the floor, because we need that there to support this floor and make it very rigid. And it has also gave us the gap that we need between the frame here and the bottom of that cross seal. So we have to make some spacers here, like we did here in the front. And so we're going to have to build some spacers here to get that up to where it supports that aluminum floor, and it gave us this gap back here as well. So we're going to have to build some spacers now at this point, and it's actually pretty neat. If you come already back here and just put some pressure on this aluminum floor right there, there's almost no flex in that, and that isn't even supported there with that cross seal yet. So this is going to end up being a really secure floor in this truck by the time we get everything spaced up how we want it. So Dad's working on those spacers now. One thing that threw us this morning is, you can see, if you look at this gap here, right there on this bed floor to this angle here, and then if you look at it over here, they're different. This one's wider. So this piece of angle was installed a little differently than this piece. And that threw us off, because when we went to put this cross seal up, the gaps here are different. This one's 1 inch, and the one on the other side is 3/4 of an inch. All the others have been the same up to this point, but that piece right there threw us. We knew the bed was level. We put levels on the bed. We did all that, and finally, Dad just happened to look down and notice that that those pieces are a little different, and that's what kind of threw us off for about 15-20 minutes of being like, we know the bed's level, but what the heck is causing this to end up being different thicknesses? So that's where we ended up this morning. We've got everything lined in. We've already got the bed. We just took some threaded rod here. We have threaded inserts in the 8 spots where there's going to be bolts throughout the frame. These 2 are in back here in the back, and we have those 2 up front lined up. They're not bolted down yet, but they are lined up, and so that's what let us go ahead and get these other 2 cross seals ready to go. I'm glad to be back. I'm really looking forward to getting this thing put together and back on the ground because it's time. It's time to go drive this thing. All right, we're officially ready to go ahead and start cutting our doghouse intersection here for the bed. We have taken and made a paper template of this, of our mini tub here at the distance where that's gonna sit, which is 5 inches off the floor. So we made this template to get that radius that we needed. We just marked the center of that radius and then marked the center of this panel, which is where we want it to sit. And then we transferred that radius onto this. It's going to give us a good starting spot here. We're going to use this inside line here. It's going to get us very, very, very close to where we need to. And then we'll have to do some trimming on these side pieces here to get it to fit into that tub. We want this to fit really closely on those mini tubs so that it's, so there's not a big gap or anything. And any little gap that we have, we can put some seam sealer on it and kind of seal all that up, since all of this is going to basically live as one piece now. And once we get this fitted, we can lay it in here and mark our holes, because that's going to get bolted to this panel and to that panel there. We can go ahead and drill out all of the holes that are going to hold the cross seal to the floor. We've got the spacers made, so the next time this bed comes off and then back on, it will be ready to be bolted down, kind of finalized, bolted down at that point. So our curves are pretty close once it gets set down. So we're hitting here on the corners. So we're going to have to cut them out, and that'll let it come on down. So that should be, hopefully this curve, like I said, once it seats down, that tub kind of runs inward. Once it comes down, it should seat down onto it. Yeah, so this is kind of roughly where he had measured for this flange here to land. So you can see it needs to just set straight down, basically. What do we need to do to cut these 4 corners off so it'll just set straight down? We're going to be pretty close. So after multiple back and forths of cutting, trimming, sawing, sanding, we got it here. We got the gap. There's a little bit of a gap, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say we just absolutely nailed it, but it's really close. And with all the curves and angles that we were dealing with, I'm pretty happy with it. What we're going to do, we're going to bolt this to this section of floor and to the front section, and then we're going to build us a little L bracket to support that there in the middle. That'll get bolted to this fender, and then also to the top of that. That'll support the top of that, and then we'll take some good urethane seam sealer and just seal this gap up the best we can. Might take a little bit of it to kind of fill it in, but man, I'm really happy with this. I think it turned out really good, and you can see it just kind of, just kind of fits the truck now. We're able to have those tubs in there still to clear the tires, and then get our C-notch covered. We're not losing a ton of bed space. We're still going to have plenty of room here to put whatever we need for the drag and drive event itself. We have been mad thrashing on this thing to try and get it to the point where we can get the bed bolted up. Did a couple things off camera because they weren't just like huge deals, but I want to at least catch you up and let you see what we did. Jake break. So there was a little bit of gap here between the tub and the floor. So we took a bar clamp, clamped that, and made some L brackets here. Can't really see them. but bolted them here to the tub and bolted them to the bottom of the floor and closed up our gap a lot. And then what gap we had left, we took some of our 3M polyurethane black seam sealer and sealed that up on both sides here. One of my better seal jobs, which kind of tells you probably how bad some of my previous ones have been, but that's pretty good and sealed. We also run a strip of that sealer here on the inside of this seam here, just to keep as much of water and stuff out as we can. So those are two things we did for the bed. It's close. The only thing we have left on it is to get the hole for our fuel fill cut, and we've went a couple different ways back and forth on what the best way it is to do that. We'll get to that when we get to it. Now, before we put the bed on it though, we want to add a drive shaft safety loop. And what that is a piece of metal tubing that will go above the drive shaft and loop down below it. So if anything happens to this drive shaft, the front of it doesn't fall down, dig into the racetrack, and pole vault the truck up. Or if it breaks, if it doesn't keep it from doing that, it keeps it from thrashing and beating the bed, the frame, beating all this stuff. Because man, if you've never seen a drive shaft break, it's violent. Like if a U-joint breaks or something and they're still spinning, if they're still attached to the engine and they're still spinning, it is a really super violent, painful, potentially painful thing. So just for our added safety, we're going to add a loop in here. We bought a universal loop from Competition Engineering. So this is the top part of it. It will go in the frame. So we're going to add another cross member basically to our frame here. So that's going to end up like that, but down in the boxing. Remember we left those bare spots for our paint so that we could put this in, since I'd already painted all the rest of this. So we did that. So we're going to do that. This thing is 54 inches long. We need to go off of our marks here and make it 35 5/8, and that'll let it slip down here. We can set our height, and then there's a lower loop that's over there on the bench that will go on it as well, so that it can be unbolted, drop that lower loop, and we can remove the drive shaft if we ever needed to.
Okay, Jake told me to film some of this stuff that I was going to do today, and to be honest with you, I sort of forgot it. What we've done, I took the stiff knees out. I set the shocks up at ride height in the rear. What we're trying to get done this morning is get the drive shaft safety loop in place. Like I say, I've got a little bit ahead of where I'm filming here. It's just real simple kit. Comes with this is 1 1/4 tubing, this is 1 1/8, and these short stub tubes just weld onto this. I set this up this morning and squared everything up, shimmed it up, and got these welded on. I have already got them drilled. It's just a simple thing about welding this on both places here, and then drilling the holes. I centered up the holes on this outside tube here, and then slid this up on this, and then drill through these holes through this tubing, so it just bolts on, so it's no big deal. So that pretty much got you caught up. We've got to the point now where I'm gonna square everything up, and the reason I put the shocks on the rear is I've already did this, and we'll do it again when we get through, when we get to the loop tacked on. I wanted to make sure that at the bottom of the shock travel that the loop didn't hit the bottom of the drive shaft. This goes down from where it's at right now. It goes down about 2.5 inches. This travel here goes down about 2.5 inches from where it is now. Well, 2.5 inches back here is down probably 3/4 of an inch up here, but I thought I was in pretty good shape, but I wanted to make sure before I welded anything to the chassis. Okay, what we got here, I've got these are 3/4 of an inch thick, which gives me 3/4 of an inch clearance on between the muffler and the drive shaft loop. I want that to end up in this area right here. So it's just a matter of getting that bottom assembled. I'll take a few measurements here, make sure everything's square, and it's going to end up something along those lines. Be something along those lines right there. So
we have been at it again, just tidying up a few little things here and there, stuff that we've done before and shown you guys 100 times before, but I'll just talk you through it super fast. We went ahead, got our new fuel line routed here down the frame rail. We just got some Clecos. I've got these nylon clips that we use on the 55 to route everything. Those Clecos will get replaced with rivets. We attached, had to build a new brake line on this side that came from that T there in the center back here to these brackets that we made for our brake lines. Did that on both sides. Routed our wires down here with it as well. So our wiring on this side is that ground that runs to the battery, back here to this stud that I moved forward just a little bit right there. This bundle of wires is like a fuel sending unit, fuel pump power, and our tail lights. One thing I did, this bundle of wires here was routed in the bed. There's a channel in the bed. Instead of doing that, I actually routed it here in this cross member, so that and I'm going to put plugs on these, so if we ever have to take this bed off, it'll be a plug for this tail light, plug for this tail light, and a plug for the tail light, the license plate tag light, and that will, all three of those will unplug and then unbolt it, set the bed off. So there won't be any having to cut or get anything out of here. Again, I told you guys when we started this, I'm trying to make this thing super serviceable for the future. If we ever decided, or if we ever need to do anything else, or if we ever just need to pop the bed off to inspect everything, gonna make it very easy to do, which is probably what we'll do. Once we get the bed mounted, drive it a little bit, we might pull the bed back off real quick and then just do a super fast inspection of the C-notch, of all of our bracketry, just of everything in general, just to make sure everything's good. Since, I don't think I mentioned this to you guys either, we had that Corvette style fuel filter regulator combo that we were running on this truck. With everything we have going on and the potential plans for it, I replaced it with this Aeromotive unit. It is also a filter and regulator combo. We put the pressure gauge here on it. These hoses are still going to reach to the tank. So this is the inlet from the fuel pump. This is the return line. So those are run. Those will get reattached to the tank. Only thing I had to do was make a new 90 to put here. So that was the only difference in that. And then that's why we had to make this new fuel line. Instead of having the one fuel line that ran down the frame on this side, we ran it down the frame on this side so that it would go to the outlet of the regulator. It's routed up here. It's not tied up just yet, but I have some pieces I'm going to use to tie that up here. It routes behind the engine and then clips in here to the fuel rail right there. It's a lot of like kind of small jobs here, kind of smaller compared to what we've been doing, but we went ahead and tied those up, got that done. Brake lines are all reconnected at the T and here at the calipers. We're going to bring the bed in here and set it on and get ready to figure out what spacers we need to space out our rear fenders so that we can clear these guys here. These are the Mickeys, but we have a set of Hoosiers to put on it as well. So we have to get the tires, we have to get everything spaced out so that we can run this wheel and tire combo and make sure that we kind of balance it with the street tires that we're running and everything. So I think we've got a good plan on that. Let's get the bed set on and then we'll get into that. Check it out. The bed is back on the truck. I told you guys we were probably going to have to space the fenders to clear our tires with the slicks and everything. And this is what our initial setup is here. Right now these are 1.5" aluminum spacers. We just put 3 of them in here at the time being to make sure it was going to do what we wanted it to do. And it sure looks like it is. So we're going to make some more of those, put them in each one of these bolt holes, and then probably come up with some sort of flange that we can go in here to fill this so that you won't really see that. It's kind of what we're hoping to be able to do. And either make a L shape so it'll go down here, lap down on the fender, and then stick back this way to cover everything. And then maybe we can spot weld that a couple places between each one of these holes, and that will stay attached to the fender. And then the only thing that will come out are these spacers. I don't know, we'll finalize that, but let's take a look here, show you what it is. So there it is, that's the slick on it. We've got plenty of clearance here. They can do whatever it needs to do. We stuck the running board back up there. We're still probably gonna have to do something else here to kind of fill this gap. We have some other panels that we made on the old section, but I don't think those are gonna work now that running board is further out here, but we gotta stick them up there and kind of see to fill it. And then there it is on the front. But this is the closest we've had to a fully assembled truck in like a month now, so that looks really, really, really good. It is a big day. I feel like we've just been in like a mad thrash for like a month now, honestly. We're finally gonna set this thing on the ground with the wheels and tires on it for the first time. You saw us drag it out with no rear tires on it so we could paint it. We have to take it out here. I have to paint the drive shaft loop that we put in and a couple other little touch-up spots here. But set it on the floor and get it outside and see what it's gonna look like. We won't have the bed on it yet, but it's gonna be pretty good, I think. Alright guys, I'm going to end it here this week. Next week, the video that we put out on Sunday will be being put out while we are at Huntsville Dragway in Alabama, getting ready to do our entire Sick Smokies event. I'm going to give you guys a little sneaky peeky right there. The truck is back on the ground here, and we're so excited, man. We're happy with how all this has turned out. This has been such a huge project, and we are really, really excited. Make sure to hit subscribe and follow us on social media, because that week it's going to be full blast. 8 days of just non-stop shorts showing what we're doing, and I'm going to be doing videos every day. Unless I mess something up, we're going to have videos of the passes that we're doing, and it's going to be, I'm just really excited about this. We've put in, maybe it's just because we put in so much work, but it's really, we've been wanting to do an event like this for so many years now, and for us to have the truck where we have it, being able to work with QA1 and do this big giant install for this truck, we're so excited. So make sure you hit subscribe and follow us on social media. Then you'll see all of the next video of us getting this thing on the ground for the final time, and probably doing some cruising with Colin over at the Daily Misfire. You do not want to miss that. Hit subscribe, go follow us on all the socials, and we will see you next week.